In this first story, we have Morgan, who's the most disgusting cheater I've found yet. She tries rationalizing herself by saying, "My boyfriend Will proposed to me in Kyoto 4 days ago, and I said yes, because what else was I supposed to do? He's on his knee, people are clapping, a random couple is taking photos. I don't speak Japanese, we're 10,000 miles from home. Was I supposed to say no on a bridge in a foreign country, and then sit next to him on a 14-hour flight back?" So I said yes. That's not dishonest, that's survival. And now the photos are everywhere. He posted them that night. He put it on LinkedIn, which tells you everything you need to know about Will as a person. His mom commented in 4 minutes. My mom called me crying. People from high school I haven't talked to in 6 years are in my notifications. He's asked me twice why I haven't posted anything, and I told him I'm picking the right photos, which bought me maybe 2 more days before he starts making it a thing. I've been sleeping with his best friend Connor for 3 months, and before you start, I didn't go looking for it. Will got way too drunk at his own birthday party because he can't handle his liquor and never could, and Connor drove me home, and we talked in the car for an hour, and it just happened. Cheating on him on his own birthday is the origin story of a comic book villain. Things with Will had been off for a long time before that. I was already mentally checked out. Connor just made me realize how far gone I actually was. He's everything Will isn't. He doesn't need me to hold his hand through every decision. He doesn't ask me if his outfit looks okay before we go to the store. He doesn't need a gold star every time he does something basic at work. Connor just exists in the world like a grown man, and I cannot explain how attractive that is when you've been mothering someone for 2 years. They always rip into the victim to justify why they cheated. Nobody knows about Connor. We're careful, and Will clearly has no idea because the man proposed to me in the middle of it. You don't buy a ring and plan a trip to Japan for a woman you suspect is cheating. So actually, if anything, this proves I haven't done anything wrong because he's happy. He's the happiest he's been in months. Whatever else is going on, I'm the reason he's been walking around smiling. Before this trip I had a plan. Go to Japan. Enjoy it because he paid for everything, and it's Japan. Come home. End it within 2 weeks. I told Connor the timeline and everything. It was handled. Then he proposed and blew the whole thing up. Blame the guy who paid for your trip to Japan and had no idea you were taking his best friend's sausage. Honestly, I'm a little annoyed about it because he didn't even ask me first. Not like ask permission. I mean, he didn't check in at all. Didn't say, "Hey, where do you see this going?" Didn't ask if I was ready for that step. Just decided on his own that this was happening and put me in a position where saying no would have made me the villain in front of a crowd of strangers. That's not romantic. That's a trap. But nobody wants to hear that because he got on one knee and cried, so now he's the hero. I downloaded Tinder on the trip as well. He was asleep by 9 because of jet lag, because of course he was. I was lying there wide awake thinking I am 27 years old in Tokyo, and I'm watching this man sleep at 9 PM on a Saturday. I didn't meet up with anyone because we're sharing a room and he'd notice, but I was swiping right next to him. The ring was on the nightstand because it doesn't even fit right, and I haven't told him that either. She was browsing the Japanese men like it was room service waiting to be ordered. Probably paid for by him as well. So now I've been thinking about it, and honestly maybe I just go through with it. Will makes good money. He paid for this whole trip without blinking. Business class, nice hotels, already talking about Italy next year. If I marry Will, I don't have to worry about rent. I don't have to pretend to like my job. I can do whatever I want, and yeah, that matters. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't. The Connor thing can just keep going. Will hasn't noticed in 3 months. He proposed during those 3 months. If anything, me being engaged makes it safer because now he trusts me more than ever. We already have the system down. Nothing changes except I have a ring and eventually a joint account. I don't see the problem. The only thing I keep going back and forth on is that Will has bad genetics. His dad is 5'6" and bald. His mum has been sick since her 40s. Will is already thinning at 28, and he thinks I don't notice, but I notice. She's really writing out a pros and cons list of the guys she's cheating on. Just keep yourself some slither of dignity and break up with him. I work out 5 days a week. My parents look 10 years younger than they are. My grandmother is 75 and still plays tennis. When I think about having kids with Will, I think about my children getting the short end of the stick, and I can't get that out of my head. I'm in Osaka right now, wearing a ring that doesn't fit, engaged to a man who has no idea, with hundreds of people congratulating me in my notifications and a Pinterest board from his sister sitting in my inbox that I haven't opened. Will keeps grabbing my hand in his sleep, and I let him because it's easier than the alternative. If there's anything I've learned from these Facebook groups is they love to be the center of attention, even if it makes them look like they feed on the blood of cute kittens. I hope he learns the truth and gets his money back for the engagement ring and the Japan trip. She deserves a Frank Reynolds. The comments are just as toxic, and they're split on whether she should stay with Will or if she should leave him. Katie said, "Girl, stay. I'm sorry, but I'm being practical. You're 27. He makes great money. He treats you well. He's obsessed with you. Do you know how many women would kill for that? Meanwhile, Rachel got deceived so badly by her fiancé and deserved it. My fiancé called the cops on me before he even woke me up. Set an alarm, made the call, then came into the bedroom and told me to pack my things while I was still in his shirt. I was sleeping in our bed and he already had police on the way. That's who I'm dealing with. He hasn't said one word to me since. Blocked on everything. Filed a restraining order. And I'm supposed to just be okay with that. After everything I gave up for this man. No. Zane and I went to the same high school. We were not friends. I was part of a group that gave him a hard time. I won't pretend I was a good person back then, because I wasn't. We called him mute because he barely talked. Someone dumped his backpack in the cafeteria trash once and I stood there and laughed. I'm not proud of it. But I was 16 and running with girls who thought being mean was the same as being funny and I didn't know any better. It went on long enough that he switched schools junior year. But it was 15 years ago and I was a child. I apologized. I ran into him at a coffee shop last year and I walked up to him and said, "I'm sorry for how I treated you. Nobody made me do that." Most people wouldn't even acknowledge what they did. He said it's fine. Said we were kids. Said he doesn't even think about it. His own words, he told me he forgave me. We started dating and he pursued me. He got my number. He planned every date. He texted first. He showed up with flowers and gifts and made it clear he was interested. He had also gotten very attractive, which I know people are going to throw at me, but I'm not going to lie about it. He'd become a mechanical engineer. Had his own place. He had his whole life together and he was begging for me to be in it. Sounds like an enemies to lovers situation going on here. Things move fast because he moved them fast. I love you in the first month, moving in by 5. He asked me to move in, not the other way around. He said I want you here. So I broke my lease, which cost me a lot of money, left my neighborhood and my routine. All for him, because he asked me to. Looking back, he asked a lot of questions about my lease, how much it would cost to break, when it expired, whether my name was on anything else. I thought he was being thorough. I thought that's just how engineers think. Now I don't know what to think about that. 1 month later, he proposed, said he'd been carrying the ring for 2 weeks. I cried so hard I couldn't speak. Called my mom from the bathroom floor. Best day of my life. Then he told me he wanted me to be a stay-at-home mom. I didn't ask for that. He offered, said his salary covers everything, said he wanted me home, then said I could start now. Quit my job. Take time for myself before the wedding. This man swooped her off her feet and promised her a perfect life. I quit my job that I was at for 4 years. Started doing Pilates 3 times a week, reading and cooking. I started writing a screenplay about our love story because it sounded like something Hollywood would actually make. The girl who bullied him in high school and the man who forgave her and fell in love 15 years later. I was living the plot of a movie. I planned the wedding, found a venue. I started looking at dresses. His mom and I were texting about colours. We were days away from putting deposits down. Then he woke me up at 7 a.m. on a Thursday and said it's over. Leave today. I was half asleep. I thought he was kidding. No emotion on his face. I asked what happened. Nothing. Someone else? No. Then why? He said he doesn't want this anymore. 10 months of my life and that's what I get. He doesn't want this anymore. I sat on the bed for over an hour asking him every question I could think of. He stood in the doorway and gave me nothing. Just kept saying it's over. Pack your things. Then the knock on the door from the police. He must have called them before he woke me up. I told them I live there. They said my name isn't on the lease. I said all my stuff is here. Didn't matter. They watched me put my clothes in a garbage bag because I didn't have a suitcase packed, because why would I? And they walked me out of my own home. Went to my mum's. Called him 40 times. Blocked. My friends tried. Blocked. My mum tried. This woman made him brisket. Blocked. Sounds like he faked the entire relationship because of what she did in high school. That's diabolical from him. I went to his work because I deserve an answer. 5 minutes. That's all I wanted. Security walked me out. I went to his apartment because I have things there that belong to me. He didn't give me the time, and now I have a restraining order. I'm not dangerous. I'm not a stalker. I'm a woman who got engaged and then got escorted out of her home by police and wants to know why. But sure, I'm the crazy one for wanting closure from the man who asked me to marry him. I don't have a job because he told me to quit. I don't have an apartment because he told me to move in. I don't have savings because he said I'd never have to worry about money again. I have a garbage bag of clothes at my mum's house and a screenplay on my laptop about a relationship that was a lie. This is some elite level revenge. I don't think some high school bullying deserves it, but I'm sure everyone has imagined getting to this level of pettiness. Everyone keeps saying the same thing, that it was revenge, that he planned it from the coffee shop, made me fall for him, got me to give up everything, then pulled it all out so I'd know what it feels like to lose your whole world. Payback for high school. People keep acting like I deserve that, which is sick. I was 16. We called him a stupid nickname and laughed when someone threw his stuff away. That's what kids do. It's not right, but it's not worth destroying someone's life over 15 years later. I said sorry. He said we're good. If he was lying about forgiving me, that's on him, not me. What was I supposed to do? Assume every nice thing he ever did was part of some plan? Not fall in love because I was mean to him as a teenager. I did what you're supposed to do. I grew up. I owned it. I apologized. He used it against me. There's a chance she's minimizing the bullying from high school. It might have shaped his entire personality, even if he was still hurt. What I did in high school and what he did to me are not the same thing. I was a dumb kid being mean. He is a grown man who spent 10 months getting a woman to give up her job, and her apartment, and her savings, and her entire life, and then called the police on her at 7 a.m. I was immature. He was calculated. I was cruel at 16. He's cruel at 31, with a plan and a timeline. Those are not equal, and I don't care who disagrees. If he sat me down like a normal person and said, I'm not feeling this, I would have been destroyed, but I would have left. I would have cried and packed my stuff and gone home. But he didn't do that. He took the ring off my nightstand while I was sleeping. He called the cops before my alarm went off. He had every second planned, and I'm the one with the restraining order. All of this felt calculated for some perfect revenge. It was so good that she was even writing about her own demise in her screenplay. Jenna said, I'm going to say what everyone is thinking. He proposed to make sure you were all in. He didn't propose because he loved you. He proposed because he needed you to quit your job. Renee is just as desperate to find her soulmate as her body clock is ticking. I broke up my friend's marriage because I wanted her husband, and it worked initially, but she had to ruin it all. My friend Danielle has been married to this guy Todd for 4 years. I've known Danielle since college. I was at their wedding. I gave the best speech. I helped her pick the venue. I sat through every conversation about their relationship problems for 3 years, and trust me, there were a lot. He doesn't plan dates. He forgot our anniversary. He's always on his phone. She said multiple times she wasn't sure she even loved him anymore. Her words, not mine. Meanwhile, I was with Joel for 2.5 years, but there was nothing there. I felt like I was dating a roommate who kissed me sometimes. I tried, but you can't force a feeling that isn't there. So I started pulling away, and around the same time I started noticing Todd more. He'd say something funny at dinner, and I'd think Danielle never mentioned he was funny, or he'd ask me a real question about my life, and I'd think Joel never does that. Just observations. I wasn't planning anything. They always started by saying there were no bad intentions and framing it as innocent, but then Danielle kept pushing us together without realizing it. She'd invite me over and go to bed early, and Todd and I would be on the couch talking until midnight. She'd ask Todd to drive me home. She'd cancel plans last minute and tell Todd to take me instead, so the reservation didn't go to waste. She literally created every opportunity. So one night, we were at their place for a game night thing, and Danielle went to bed at like 9:30 because she had a headache, and Todd and I ended up on the back porch and something shifted. You could feel it. He texted me the next morning just to say he had a good time talking. That's how it started. I broke things off with Joel around this time. Didn't tell him why. Just said I needed to figure myself out, which wasn't even a lie really. Things with Todd went on for about 5 months, and yes, I know he was married, but he told me things about that marriage Danielle never mentioned. Months without intimacy, feeling invisible. Said I was the first person in years who made him feel like himself, and I believed him because I saw it. I was literally at their dinner table watching her ignore him. Now here's where people are going to lose it, but I need you to hear me out. I told him from the start I didn't want to be a secret forever. I'm not built for that. I have too much self-respect to be some hidden thing. So I gave him time, and he kept saying he was going to leave. Next month, after the holidays, after her birthday, always something. So eventually I decided to move things along. I left a piece of jewelry at their house where Danielle would find it. Not to hurt her, just to force the truth out. Because he was never going to rip off the band-aid himself. Danielle deserved to know, and I deserved to stop hiding. Someone had to be brave enough to blow the whole thing up. So he didn't leave his wife for you, and strung you along for months, and you still thought he was the perfect guy for you. Danielle found out, called me every name you can think of, blocked me on everything, told our entire friend group. I lost 6 friends in 1 week. Todd moved out. They were done. And honestly, for about a month, it felt like the worst part was over, and we could finally just be together. We started dating for real. Out in public, he met my sister. We went to brunch on Sundays. Then Danielle announced she was pregnant. 8 weeks, which means she got pregnant right around the time everything blew up. Or just before. I still don't fully understand the timeline, and honestly, I don't want to. This would make it so interesting if he was still sleeping with his ex-wife while dating her. I told Todd, this doesn't have to change anything. People co-parent all the time. You don't have to go back to a broken marriage just because of a baby. I looked up custody lawyers in our area and sent him the links. I was being supportive. I was being practical. I even said maybe she should consider whether bringing a baby into that situation is fair to anyone, especially the child. That's not cruel. That's being the only person in the room willing to say what everyone's thinking. Todd got quiet. Then he told me he needed to do the right thing, and I knew before he finished the sentence. He went back to Danielle. She posted a bump photo 2 months later with some caption about "through every storm," and I almost threw my phone. This whole situation is so messy. Did she take him back out of revenge, or just so the baby would have a present father? The cheating scandal will always be in the background. I'm single and have no friends because Danielle made sure of that. Joel won't respond to my text, which is petty, because I was nothing but good to him for 2.5 years. My mom keeps asking when I'm settling down. I'm 31, and I have maybe 4 good years left before having kids gets complicated, and I spent the best ones on a man who went back to a woman he told me he didn't love. No, you spent the best ones on a guy you cheated on. You only dated Todd for 2 months before he went back to her ex. How can she forget that? The worst part is I know I'm not going to find someone like Todd again. He was everything. I had the whole package, and it got taken from me because of timing. If she wasn't pregnant, he'd still be with me right now. I know that, I know my own name. I keep thinking about reaching out, but every time I type something, I delete it. She probably monitors his phone now because she's that type, and I refuse to beg. I've never begged for anything in my life, and I'm not starting now. I just want someone to tell me the truth. Is there actually someone else out there for me, or did I already meet him and lose him? Because it feels like the universe put the perfect person in front of me and then snatched him away for no reason, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. I'm tired of people saying, focus on yourself, because I've been focused on myself for 31 years, and look where that got me. It's baffling that she's calling a guy that she dated for 2 months and was cheating on his wife the perfect person for her. If the bar is that low, then she could probably find her soulmate in any Costco. The comments are weirdly empathetic for her and putting a lot of the blame on Todd. Kelsey said, if you've done it once, then you can do it again, which did make me laugh a little. Meanwhile, Tara's still playing stupid games and cheating on her boyfriend as Youth is on her side. She starts by saying, my ex just threatened to send my new boyfriend every message I've ever sent him, and somehow I'm the bad guy here. Drew dumped me. He broke my heart. Everything after that is on him, but he's trying to ruin my life. 8 months ago, Drew ended things out of nowhere. Sunday he tells me he loves me. Wednesday he's done. No fight. No reason. I lost 9 pounds in 2 weeks, and my mom had to come feed me like a child. He put me there. Then he kept texting me. He reached out first. Every time his was either, I miss you, or a meme. Then he asked to come over, and yeah, I said yes, because the man who just destroyed me was offering to hold me, and I'm sorry I wasn't made of stone 3 weeks after the worst night of my life. So we kept hooking up. He'd come over, he'd leave, and yeah, it made it harder to move on. But that's his fault for showing up. I was trying to get over him. He kept pulling me back. Every time I started to feel okay, he'd text something that put me right back at zero. The emotional blame is strong with this one. I was on the apps the whole time because I was trying to do the right thing. Matched with this guy Ethan about 4 months ago. Nice and cute, good job. But this man moves slow, like it's a sport. We'd go on a date and then nothing for a week. He'd say he wants to see me again, and then just not plan anything for over a week. So yeah, when Drew texts me at 11 PM, at least that's the person who shows up. Wrong person, sure, but Ethan was out here treating me like something on his to-do list, while Drew was in my phone every night acting like I mattered, and we were not exclusive. Ethan never asked and never said one word about it. We'd been on like 4 dates, and he hadn't tried to lock anything down. I was single. You can't cheat on someone who isn't your boyfriend. That's not how it works. If he wanted me to stop seeing other people, he could have opened his mouth and said so. If Ethan had just asked me to be his girlfriend sooner, none of this would have happened. If I was early dating a girl, and I found out she was still sleeping with other guys, then I would break up with her immediately. I know some people treat dating like that, but not me. It would ruin the memories of your early dates if you found out she was getting railed by other guys the same night you went out for coffee. Then Ethan got better, planned real dates, took me to this Italian place I mentioned once like 3 weeks before, which meant he was paying attention. Brought me flowers on a Tuesday for no reason. Started texting me every morning, and I started to feel something real. Different from the Drew thing, which was just chaos. But I didn't stop seeing Drew, because Ethan still hadn't made it official. I had a rule. The second he commits, I'm done with Drew. That was the deal I made with myself. I was waiting for Ethan to give me a reason, and he took his time. I have a rule that I won't stop robbing banks until I get caught. As soon as the police show up, is when I stop putting the money in the bag. Then one night we're watching a movie, and a text from Drew pops up on my phone with a heart emoji. Ethan sees it and says, "Who's that?" I panicked and said my friend Drew. He said okay and went back to the movie. Didn't ask anything else. Didn't look at me. Just took my word for it. And after that, whenever I was texting Drew or going to see him, I could just say I was with my friend, and Ethan never blinked. I didn't plan that. He asked and I answered, and it just worked out. I'm not going to feel bad about it. Things just lined up that way. I used it a few times, probably more than a few, but I was always going to stop. I told myself every week this is the last time, and I meant it. Drew just made it hard because he was always right there, and when someone wants you, and your boyfriend can't even say the word girlfriend, what are you supposed to do? Sit in your apartment and wait. I'm not built like that. Drew made it so you can't even eat, and you're still picking him over Ethan. Wake up. Then last week Drew said he wants me back. Says I'm the one. Leaving me was the worst thing he's ever done. I said no. I'm with Ethan now. He got quiet. Then he said, does Ethan know about us? I said there's nothing to know. He said so he knows we've been sleeping together this whole time. I said it wasn't the whole time. He said I have every text, and if you don't come back, I'm sending all of it. That's who Drew is. He didn't want me when he had me. He crushed me when he left. He spent 8 months texting me just enough to keep me close, and now that someone else makes me happy, he wants to blow it up, because he can't stand not being the most important person in my life. She won't take any blame for her own choices. It's like Drew is controlling her Sims character. He's not fighting for me. He's punishing me for moving on, and using my private messages to do it is sick. I sent those when I was at my lowest, and he saved them like ammunition. I should have told Ethan earlier, but he's sensitive, and if I told him he would have left, and I wasn't about to lose the only good thing in my life because of something that was already ending. Well, in the end, Drew ended up sending Ethan our messages and exposing everything. Ethan ghosted me completely, which is such an immature thing to do. I was at a new low, and I thought me and Drew were going to date, but that only lasted a month before he broke up with me again. If you live in the Baltimore area and know a Drew Sutherland, stay clear of him. He's a terrible person. As expected, Drew played her for a second time, and Ethan was a casual bystander. She warned the entire city about Drew, but all the men should be warned about her as well. Luckily, the comments have morals and are sticking up for Ethan and calling her out. Then we have Nicole, who might be the most jealous woman alive. My husband is addicted to attention from other women, and it's ruining our marriage. A year and a half ago, he was soft, 25 pounds up from when we met, hoodies and takeout every night. Hadn't been near a gym in years. My sister said something at Thanksgiving. My friend Becca said something after a photo. That stuff lands on me because your partner's body is a reflection of you. So I fixed him. I nudged him. Fit guy on TV. And I'd say, wow, he takes care of himself. Getting dressed to go out and I'd say, are you sure about that shirt? It doesn't fit anymore. Never mean. Just enough. I also pulled back when he wasn't trying. Less affection, less attention. Then when he'd mention the gym, I'd turn it all on. Compliments and touching him. I trained him. He wasn't going to do it himself. Now he looks incredible. This is standard manipulation and toxic for a relationship, but she did get the result she wanted, and he's probably happier. Within a year, he transformed. He went from invisible to the guy every woman tracks when he stands up. I did that. He was my project, but now I can't stand it. A bartender flirted with him last month while I was sitting right there, leaning in and laughing at nothing. He didn't shut it down. 2 women at his work party told me to my face I'm lucky. I wanted to say I made him look like that, so direct the compliment at me. Every time we go out now, it's someone, a look or a smile. I used to be able to take him anywhere and feel safe. Now I spend the whole time watching women watch him. Tyler loves it. He won't say that, but I see it. Takes twice as long getting dressed. Checks himself from every angle. Bought tighter jeans. He spent years being invisible, and now he's addicted to being seen, and it's wrecking our marriage. But sure, let's pretend the gym is about health. I told him to cut back to 3 days a week. He said no. I said it's taking over our life. He said it's 1 hour a day. He never used to push back on me. Now he has all this confidence and all these opinions, and I know where they came from. Not from me. From the attention. He thinks he's something now and I can't pull him back. She created this monster and now wants to destroy it. She can't have him on a leash anymore. A scoop of sugar in his morning smoothie. He didn't notice. Then I started leaving cookies on the counter because Tyler cannot say no to cookies. He caved every time. Then I went further. Swapped his Greek yogurt for regular. Put whole milk in the skim container. Extra butter in everything I cook. Started making pasta on his clean eating nights. I order pizza right when he gets home from the gym because his willpower is gone after a workout and he always gives in. He's been getting fatter and going to the gym less. I'm thinking about going further than that. His gym membership is on our joint account. I have access. I've pulled up the cancel page twice. Haven't clicked it yet. But I've sat there with my finger over the button and felt nothing but calm. Before anyone comes at me, this is for our marriage. He doesn't need abs. He doesn't need women staring. He used to care what I thought. Now he cares what everyone thinks, and that's changing him into someone I don't recognize. He's friendlier with women. More eye contact, more conversation. The man I married stayed close to me in public and didn't need anyone's attention. Now he makes the waitress laugh, and I'm supposed to be fine with it because he's just being friendly. I don't trust other women. I trust Tyler, but Tyler trusts himself way too much right now. A man with that much new attention and that much new confidence is one bad night away from a mistake. I'd rather pull him back before it happens. The comments are very supportive of her. Olive said, honestly, the smoothie thing is not that deep. It's sugar. She's not putting glass in his food. She's adding calories to slow down a man who is clearly becoming obsessed with his own reflection. Thanks for watching and getting to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know which was the craziest story for you. And also there's a bunch of other videos on my channel that you might enjoy. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next episode.